Coming to you live from Camp Cunningham's gym here in sunny West Palm Beach. This week we got a lot of boxing information, a lot of the latest knockouts of the past week, and we're here in Camp Cunningham's gym where we've settled in. As you all know, I moved here and relocated from St. Louis and came out and built this Camp Cunningham facility. It's an elite training camp for world-class fighters that want to come to a first-class training camp. And we've made a lot of progress in the last month or so. We've been here for a couple of months now, and we've really made a lot of progress. And everything's coming along as planned. The training camp's going well for Devon. Everything's going real smooth. I've brought on board a world-class conditioning coach. He's worked with a lot of the top fighters in the past. And Dudley is really great at getting your cardio going and getting your cardio up. And, so everything is right on point. We got a strength training facility where we can take all of our guys and have them do their strength training, and everything's going great. So it's everything is right on point, and we really are pleased with the way everything's going right now. So John, tell me what's going on with my screen right now.
All kinds of stuff. Having a little internet difficulties here, but we're streaming it out. We're doing okay. It's streaming. We're on Facebook and Ustream.
Okay, so I was looking.
We're also on Periscope here, by the way, too. So if you want to chat in your questions, you can chat them here. I can read them over to Kevin.
So I guess I did get my footage that I was looking for in terms of the camp, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, look like we're back on schedule. Internet, I guess, right?
Yeah, you can replay that footage of Devon if you want again.
Yeah.
Take another look at it because we went up there.
It's all good. I've seen it, so it's all good. But first of all, I want to pay my respects to one of the all-time great trainers, managers, and just all legendary boxing person. Lou Duva passed a couple of weeks ago, and he was one of the great trainers. He had some of the best world champions in the world, and I like to pay my respects to Lou. As you know, he brought us Sweet Pea, Pernell Whitaker, Meldrick Taylor, Holyfield, just to name a few. And the whole Duva family, they've been entrenched in boxing for the longest, and rest in peace, Lou Duva. And I'm sure you got the same sentiments, John. You've been around Lou for some years, right?
Yeah, fierce warrior, man. Fierce warrior.
Really fierce. Really
yes.
Fierce. Really
yes, I think the fiercest I ever saw him ever was I just redigitized a couple of different times the Taylor Chavez fight, which of course was crazy, where Chavez knocked him down with and Richard Steele waved the fight off with 3 seconds left, and Taylor was ahead on all three scorecards by 2 or 3 points. And Lou was the first thing you saw in that ring after they cut from Richard Steele to Meldrick Taylor looking in the corner was Lou Duva. But he was a fighter, man, for his guys.
Yeah.
He got clubbed over the head with the radio in the Galata fight. He's been in the thick of that since the 1940s or 50s or something like that.
Yeah.
Guy's been around, man.
Yeah, I recall when the Pernell fought Buddy McGirt, and Buddy's manager, what's his name? He made the suits, he was a tailor for a living. But he and Lou Duva was about to fight in the middle of the ring, so that was. I mean, both of those were two hothead Italians going at it, man. So,
definitely.
But Lou was known for the temper, but he was a great guy. He's a great boxing guy, and like I said, just wanted to pay my respects. Next subject is last week's middleweight fight between David Lemieux and Curtis Stevens. And this fight was highly anticipated. And both guys known for punching power. And wow, it was a fight. I mean, it didn't last but 3 rounds. And I mean, when you say a knockout, that was a knockout. I mean, that was one of the most vicious knockouts I've seen in a while. And Curtis Stevens, he was out for, it took him about 10 minutes to get him up.
It was a lot.
And
it was dangerous.
They took him out on a stretcher.
Yeah.
So, man, that was spectacular. That was a really spectacular knockout. And Lemieux has really put himself in position to get a mega fight with either one of the top superstars in the middleweight division. I mean, who would you like to see him fight, John? I mean, he could fight if Canelo beats Chavez. I mean, I know Golden Boy would probably want to, make a in-house fight because they have both guys, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they have Lemieux, they have Canelo, so that fight would be easy to make. And then there's Triple G, the rematch with Triple G. Lemieux would probably want to try to avenge that loss. And
I don't know about that, though. I think that fight gets fought 10 times and Triple G wins it all the time. Yeah. Although it was pretty exciting.
Yeah.
Lemieux's a puncher, boy.
Yeah, big puncher.
Wow.
Big puncher. I'd like to see him fight Canelo. I mean,
yeah.
Canelo's he's strong, but he's not not what you would call that vicious one-punch knockout artist. I mean, he's a strong technical fighter, but I think Lemieux would give Canelo a good fight. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that would be good if he gets by Chavez, which I'm presuming you think that he will.
Yeah, I think he beats Chavez. I mean,
Chavez got to make weight first.
Yeah, he's got to make weight, and what Chavez will you get?
Yeah,
that's right. What you gotta. You don't know what you're gonna get from fight to fight with Chavez Jr. I mean, you just don't know. So, I mean, if you get the Chavez Jr. that's in shape and focused and ready to go, he could give Canelo a great fight. And but if you get the unfocused Chavez, comes in, doesn't make weight. I mean, I don't know, but if I had to bet on that fight, I'd bet on Canelo.
Yeah, I think I would too.
I
don't know what the Las Vegas odds are, but
yeah. Well, I tell you what, the fight is gonna be sold out. I mean, it's two huge Mexicans fighting.
Cinco de Mayo, man.
Cinco de Mayo weekend in Vegas. I mean, that's going to be that new arena at the MGM Grand. That place is going to be rocking.
Yeah, should be, man.
It's probably standing room only. So
yeah,
So I mean, I don't know. I think Canelo beats Chavez Jr. and I like the promotion. I like the way Oscar's moving Canelo, because I mean, that's really going to be a Mexican rival. Canelo he has a huge following, but once he beats the name Chavez, I mean, he's really going to solidify that whole Mexican following, I believe. And I mean, he's going to be, the biggest Mexican fighter in the game after this fight. What do you think?
I think so. I think,
and that equals dollars.
Yeah, I don't know what the eventuality here is at the end of the day. Is it Triple G versus Canelo we're looking for? Is that what we're looking for ultimately? Is that the super fight of this day, or?
I mean, it's a fight we want to see. Triple G and Canelo, we want to see that fight. But I mean, there's several fights that Canelo or Triple G would make, and there would be huge fights. I mean, me personally, I wanted to see Triple G and Andre Ward. So, but
what's the likelihood of that happening?
Slim and none, and I guess Slim left town when Andre Ward went to light heavyweight, right?
Yeah.
So,
hey, Kevin, we're gonna have to take. Well, I'm actually kind of curious about Chavez. I just, I just watched all those fights of his father, and I thought if he could just put together one night of one of his dad's fights in the 80s and fight like his dad, that we would have a serious fight on our hands with Canelo. I just think he's gonna that kid that didn't grow up in quite as hard a life as his father is going to show up, and he's going to quit, and he's going to be overweight, and he's going to be something. We're just going to have problems.
Well, the way his dad is talking, I'm reading his interviews. He's talking like his son is going to knock Canelo out. So, I mean, you know what? He did pick up that body punching from it. He's a good body puncher. He's pretty good to the body.
Yeah.
I mean, he hurt Martinez with some good body shots, so he kind of picked up that body punching from his dad. But we'll see for the most part. But, I mean, I think everybody wants to see Canelo move on, take care of this business and move on. And Triple G, if he beats Danny Jacobs, they want to see Canelo and Triple G. I think that's the fight everybody wants to see, but I don't think that fight is going to happen
I don't think it's
in
either.
September the way that they're talking about. I don't think that fight's going to happen in September. So, but
that's up to the promoters.
Yeah.
Somebody's going to lose their big fighter.
Yeah. Well,
and
that's the difference between the UFC and boxing. In the UFC, every fighter, there's not really any undefeated big fighters in the UFC. But in boxing, having that staying undefeated is
everything now.
Basically, and it shouldn't be.
Yeah, Mayweather made the blueprint for it, though. I mean, it's the ultimate goal now. It's not the ultimate goal to get in a knockdown brawl or have a rivalry with a Joe Frazier, or it's the
But how do we get the fights that the fans want to see?
Well, you're not going to get them
if the fighters are protecting their
Yeah, no.
Because you gotta fight the best. The best gotta fight the best, and if the best are undefeated, then they're avoiding the other undefeated guys. So we're not getting.
Well, that's the difficulty
best
with
fight
having.
the best.
That's the difficulty with having the fighter become bigger than the sport. In every sport, you can never have the individual athlete be bigger than the sport. That's the problem. Was Mayweather's bigger than the sport, and said, "Hey, I don't want to get hurt."
But I think things are changing now. We just last 2 weeks ago, we had two undefeated welterweights, the two best welterweights in the game right now. They both were undefeated, and they fought. So I think that trend is starting to change a little bit. I mean, once Mayweather, he's pretty much, out, semi-retired or whatever. I think that trend is changing because if you want the networks and network TV to really get involved and really push, they want to see the best fights made, and they want to see the best fight the best. I mean, even in the old days, the best fought the best. I mean, Leonard, Hearns, Hagler, Duran, they all fought. So, I think we got to get back to that.
Yeah, well, you got to, but there are things that are fundamentally way out of whack with boxing right now.
And what's that?
Well, there's a guy out there who's had a whole bunch of money to spend, and he bought time on the networks. And as good of an idea as that sounded like, that kind of wrecked the market for people, because now networks say, hey, why do I need to pay you when another promoter is willing to pay me for time? And
that's an argument. We can go back and forth with that, because if I got the best fighters and I got the product, you should pay me for my product, especially if I'm putting forth a good product.
Yeah, listen, the last 2 months of boxing have been great. It's been the best 2 months of boxing in a lot of years.
Yeah.
Do you agree?
So if you're giving the networks a great product, the NFL is not giving the networks anything, right? The networks are cutting a big $1 billion check to the NFL, right?
Yeah.
The NBA, right?
Yeah.
Major League Baseball, right?
Yep.
So why shouldn't boxing charge it to the game? You know what I'm saying? As long as we're putting forth a good product and we got the best fighters fighting, people want to see the best fighters fight the best.
Yes, they do. Well, that brings me to, okay, so there's this crazy dynamic going on right now where a unbelievably good fight was on free TV. Probably one of the best fights that I remember in a long time on free TV in the last couple weeks here. And then this fight coming up this weekend is on pay-per-view. Triple G on pay-per-view.
That fight shouldn't.
They're not going to get 50,000 buys. It's $65.95, and they keep sticking Chocolito, and that's great. But that's not a pay-per-view fight. And somebody just makes. I know how they do it. I was on the inside. I know how they make these accounting decisions. But when I was doing the accounting for a certain promoter, he didn't have fights on pay-per-view that didn't belong on pay-per-view. I don't ever remember in the 25 years there a fight where I went, this fight doesn't belong on pay-per-view.
Now this is a good fight, but this fight should be on regular HBO.
At the very least.
Yeah, it should be on.
Yeah, but
HBO.
HBO didn't want to pay for it, right? I guess.
Obviously, they put it on pay-per-view. So
they figure $65.95 buys, divide it in half. That's $33 times. If you get 50,000 buys, that's $1 million and $1.5 million or something like that. That's what it's going to earn. I take it HBO didn't want to pay that. They didn't want to pay $1 million for that fight.
Well, I'm sure that this fight is costing more than $1 million.
Oh no, I understand, but I think it seems to me that the promoter of Triple G, the minds have been made up that he's a pay-per-view fighter and he's never coming off pay-per-view. They've made their minds up.
But this is his first pay-per-view fight.
No, what are you talking about? When he fought David Lemieux was pay-per-view.
That was pay-per-view?
Yeah, we did a closed-circuit broadcast at Sal's of that. Yeah.
David Lemieux and Triple G was pay-per-view?
Yes, it was. We did a closed-circuit broadcast of that night. And I said to him, and that was actually a pretty good card. Chocolito fought a good fight.
Yeah, that's not pay-per-view. That's not pay-per-view. This is fighting Danny Jacobs is more a pay-per-view fight than fighting David Lemieux. Danny Jacobs is known has more of a name than David Lemieux in the States.
Well, I'm just saying that somebody's made up their mind that Triple G is pay-per-view and that's it. It doesn't matter. That's what the decision seems to be made.
He's not doing numbers. He's not doing numbers.
He's
yet.
not.
He needs a dance partner to do numbers.
Well,
you know what I mean.
Until he gets to Canelo, who else is there going to be?
He needs an Andre Ward or a Canelo to go on paper to really do some real numbers on paper.
Absolutely.
So
yeah.
I mean, these are the types of fights that go on pay-per-view that piss off the fans, because this is a fight that they want to see, but they don't want to have to come out of their pocket $70,
$65.95.
Yeah, well, $70.
$70 with tax.
To see this fight.
Yep.
I mean, you're already paying for cable, so you should get this fight with just regular cable.
Yeah, I agree. That's what should happen. But like I said, somebody's decided that this is pay-per-view, and I'm not sure. I know that they try to figure these things out on paper, but I know I've been a part of budget making for pay-per-views, and like I said, in the 20 years doing it, I don't remember us ever doing a pay-per-view that should have been a pay-per-view. And it seems like more and more in the last 2-3 years, there have been so many pay-per-views that shouldn't have been. And they're getting 50,000 buys, 30,000 buys. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's really crazy. And the sad part about it is, I mean, it's just, I've already ordered the fight, so, I mean, I'll be watching, but for the average Joe Blow, the general market fan, and those are the fans that you really want to reach. Those are the fans. When you get into the general market, that's when you start to bring in those real numbers. When you get past that regular boxing fan,
Well, there's 50,000 hardcore fans in this world that are going to buy any world championship fight. They know that. That's sort of their number. When you get to 100,000, it's just a little more of that boxing crowd. But to get to those, million buy fights, you better put something on that's good.
Yeah, well, 50,000 buys. That's you're not. You can't even pay the fighters.
Right. So somebody's coming out of their pocket for that.
Yeah. Well, I don't know, but as far as the fight, I think it's going to be a great fight. We talked about it a little bit last week. I think it's going to be Triple G's toughest test thus far. And, I don't know. Danny says he's had an excellent training camp for this fight, and he's in the best shape of his life. And he brought in a nutritionist, which is actually, his first time really dealing with a nutritionist. So he's done all the things that you can ask a guy to do to get ready for the biggest fight of his life. And
what's it going to take to put a chink in the armor of Triple G? Because he looks like he's just now, just walking through guys, man. He seems to have no fear. Now, I don't think you can get away with that walking in and taking a shot on the chin too long. So eventually you're going to get to a puncher who's going to hit you, but
And actually Triple G, he doesn't really have to fight like that. I mean, he's got enough skill set about him that he can get out of the way of some of those punches. But like you said, he's gotten so cocky and confident. It's like he's just walking through these guys, and he's not respecting any of these opponents that they're putting in front of him. So, and that's a good thing. You want a fighter to be as confident as possible, but I guess Danny's supposed to be the stiffest test, and we'll just have to see. Look like we're having some more.
No, it's streaming okay. We got through whatever the difficulty was. I don't know if that train going over the train tracks here or something. We got a good solid stream going on. I'm looking at it right now, but we had problems with one of the connections. So
okay, well, mine's is not.
Yeah, I'm going to reshare it on your screen. So just take a look at it.
I've tried to reset my deal, and I'm out of luck. But Saturday night, Triple G, Danny Jacobs, live HBO pay-per-view. Danny, from all of my inside contacts, I'm hearing Danny is ready to shock the world. I'm hearing that Danny is going to shock the world, is what I'm hearing, and I'm hearing this from some of the best trainers and some of the fighters that were around the sparring sessions. In sparring sessions, the fight is something totally different. But from what I'm hearing, is Danny's really ready. So, that would be interesting to
what happens when the pressure turns on. That's
Yep.
like Mike Tyson said, everybody's got a plan till they get hit.
Yeah.
But
yeah. Well, all a guy can do is get as ready as he can possibly be, and his team comes together and puts together the perfect strategy, and the fighter has to go out and execute. And like you said, that pressure is part of dealing with the fight. And this is going to be a pressure that Danny has yet to have ever faced in a fight, because this is his biggest test. This is his biggest stage, and
you think guys are let's go back to just Tyson, because Tyson, now I've told you now, I've now watched all of his fights 100 times each.
Right.
And there was this crazy intimidation factor that went on, especially in that stretch where he fought 13 times in a year in 85 and 86, and you watch guys just walk in. You know, Frank Bruno, bless himself, 21 times before he came in the second time. I mean, is that kind of fear going on with Triple G in fighters yet, or not? You think so?
I don't think it's as big as the fear of going to the ring to face Mike Tyson, but I think it's some of that fear. Triple G has the reputation to be a stone cold killer in there, and it's starting to really get into some of his opponents' heads. And I mean, like I said, I don't think it's as big as the Mike Tyson thing was, but some of that's going on with Triple G.
Yeah, I mean that's he's. I'm not sure what fighter he reminds you of in the past. His punching power is certainly as big as anybody. You know, between 160 and 175 pounds in the last long time. And he looks pretty. He just looks confident and almost fearless when he comes in. He doesn't look angry like Tyson does, but he looks confident and fearless when he walks in. When I watch him,
extremely confident.
Yeah.
I mean, he's just got this blank stare on his face, and it's like,
and he's not an overwhelming physically. He doesn't look just overwhelming. He doesn't have that. You know, I don't know. He just doesn't. He doesn't look overwhelmingly physical. But you know, there's certain guys in certain sports. My sport was baseball, and there were guys that were humongous, big guys with humongous arms, but they could hit a baseball just right.
But I tell you, who else didn't have that physical physique? But he was a stone cold killer, and that's Chavez Sr.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
You know, he didn't have a muscle in his body.
But that left hook he would throw on guys' bodies. Man, I want to make a highlight reel because we got, you know, he fought for DKP for years. Right. And there was like 28 or 29 fights in that library, and I've watched them all a ton. Man, he was punishing. That left hook he would throw would hit guys. I mean, I watched him fight Roger Mayweather in the 80s and Camacho, though he didn't knock out Camacho, but man, he just punished guys with those body shots. Yeah. That was more punishing than getting hit in the face. Watch guys just curl up on the mat.
You know, and you spoke about it earlier. It was amazing to see how he systematically broke down Mildred Taylor.
Yeah.
And Mildred Taylor was winning that fight.
Yeah.
But Chavez was winning the war.
For sure.
Because
Mildred Taylor was beat. Let me tell you something about Mildred Taylor.
Mildred was outboxing him and outpointing him, but Chavez was constantly punishing and slowly but surely breaking him down. And when it got to that last round, he was so beat up.
Oh yeah, he was beat up.
Richard Steele just felt sorry for him and stopped the fight. He didn't know it was 2 seconds left in the fight.
Yeah, well the problem was he looked to his right, thinking his corner was there. His corner was to the left. He went like this and looked, didn't see his corner, and Richard Steele said, "Are you all right?" And he couldn't hardly see out of his eyes, and he didn't answer, and that's why Steele waved it off. And let me tell you something. That was a life-changing fight for Mildred Taylor. Mildred Taylor's not in real good physical and mental shape. I saw him a couple of years ago, and I'm telling you that was the game-changing fight there. That's the fight where the brain damage
never
happened.
The same after
never
the fight.
The same.
Never.
Yeah, and so when people talk about Richard Steele stopping it too early, Richard Steele probably should have stopped that fight a couple of rounds before it was over, because that poor guy is not in good shape. I saw him. He went to a fight with us, and the guy didn't even really know where he was. And I like the guy. He's a nice guy. Right. Fell asleep in the van, and I said, "Oh my God!" And he's like 2 years older than I am. This was 10 years ago. And I said to myself, I watched that fight again. I said, that was the fight. You know, some guys, it's like Gerald McClellan. The shit happens, and it's right there.
Yeah,
there's no denying it.
That was sad.
And then there's Mildred Taylor, who brain damage happened in that fight. Chavez punished him.
Yes, Mildred was never the same.
Never the same. Never the same.
That was a career ruining. That was one of those career ruining fights.
Yep.
You know.
Yeah. I mean, he probably should have retired right after that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But he went on, and I fought Chavez again in '94 and lost. He got punished again.
So just to piggyback on what you were saying, like I said, Chavez was one of those guys that didn't have the ripped up body muscles all over the place, but he was a stone cold killer. And Triple G is pretty much, similar to in terms of he doesn't have muscles ripped all up all over the place, but man, obviously he's a huge puncher.
Yeah.
I mean, some fights I've watched him where he just punched through the guard of his opponent punched through the guard to where they just, drop their hands because he just punched through the guard and knocked the guy.
You're a trainer, so you know it. You know this deeper than anybody. Do guys just are guys just able to use leverage and muscle power a million times more efficient? Like I seen, like hitting a baseball, that was my sport. And you could see guys that they weren't big, strong guys, but they just directed the bat at the ball in the perfect way. And it seems like that with boxers. They're able to just get that perfect.
And that's good fundamentals is what that is. Fundamentally sound, knowing how to transfer your weight and using the proper snap and timing. And it's not about being able to punch hard. It's about shifting your leverage and your weight and having the proper snap and turn at the proper time. So a lot of fighters, they master that. Some don't. Some guys think that the harder they throw a punch, that's going to be more power. When actually, if you shift your weight properly and you use your leverage properly, that's more power with the punch, on the punch, as opposed to just throwing a punch, trying to throw a punch hard. So, and that's something, that comes with fundamentals, and that comes with timing and training and just knowing how to use your fundamentals and being fundamentally what you call fundamentally sound. And some guys get it, some guys don't. It's just like what you said with baseball. It's knowing how to transfer that weight and right at the proper time and timing that ball and turning. It's all in the wrist, the legs, the hips, and you got to get it all together. And if you never get it right, you'll never be a certain level of hitter in baseball.
Yeah.
Same way with boxing. If you don't get those fundamentals down, you're going to come up short in the boxing ring. So, and you can see the difference between fighters that are fundamentally sound and guys that are talented and they're doing half of the things that they're doing them wrong because they are talented. But it eventually catches up to them. The mistakes that they were getting away because they were so talented at a younger age, they start to pay for those mistakes when they slow up just half a second. And you could look at Roy Jones and you could see that.
I was thinking about that before we went on air. Was that the speed and the accuracy? And I just went through about 6 or 8 fights in the '90s with Roy Jones, and then redigitized that Tarver fight, and you realize that the difference between being on the mat and kicking guys' asses and not even getting hit is probably milliseconds, but he lost those milliseconds, and Tarver just clocked him, and that was the end of his career right there, man. It was just over right there.
Yeah, and see a guy like Bernard Hopkins, who wasn't blessed with those natural gifts, that had to work a little harder and had to learn the fundamentals to get by and be good and great. His career lasted a little longer because he had the fundamentals down pat.
Especially defense.
So it took him further. Yeah. So,
Because Roy is still not. The fight he just fought the other day, he's still fighting with his hands down and sticking his chin out. And he's 10 years past that point, and he just doesn't really want to defend himself.
He's almost 20 years past that point.
Yeah, well, he's a long ways past it, but it's a little scary to watch him.
Yeah, because Roy is what, 50?
Close to it.
Yeah, he's got to be 50.
Yeah.
Bernard's 52, so you shouldn't even. You you can't say. I mean, you can't tell a person what to do. But I mean, I don't think you should be fighting at 50. I mean, at that level. I mean, if you're fighting in a 50 and up age bracket, man, that's something different.
Yeah.
When you're talking about fighting world-class elite fighters, I mean, that could get dangerous. That could be really dangerous.
Very quickly.
So, I mean, I don't know, but, you know, I think Roy does a great job on the commentating on HBO, so.
Yeah, and I would hate to see that, you know, those knockouts that have happened to him have not been, you know, he didn't take a knee, dude. He got hit and he was down. I mean, that fight in Russia, I saw that on YouTube afterwards, and he was stiff.
Even right after Tarver, the fight with he got knocked out right after the Tarver fight against not Jones. His next fight.
Yeah, I know.
What's his name? The guy's here from
Jamaican guy, right?
Yeah, he's from here in Florida. Man, I can't think of his name. What's his name? But anyway, he knocked Roy out cold.
Yep.
I mean, cold. So, like you said, Roy, when he gets knocked out, it's not like he's taking a knee and, you know, he's hurt, but he's not getting punished. He's getting knocked out cold. So, you know.
Well, you know, I think all the kind of people in his camp are telling him, but hey, listen, man, he's grown, man. He has to, you know, he can do what I think at some point a boxing commission has to step in and not allow that. You know,
yeah,
they have to do it for his safety. They have to,
right?
Unless he's going to fight the guy that he fought there, the bare knuckle guy. He's going to fight those guys for the next couple of years, but hopefully not.
Well, speaking of knockouts, you know, I want to touch on a knockout that happened last week with a young fighter by the name of Joshua Greer Jr. I mean, and this was a spectacular knockout. I think this knockout was even more spectacular than Lemieux knocking out Curtis Stevens. This was a vicious knockout. And when I tell you it was a vicious knockout, it was I mean, he timed this punch just right, and this guy was out cold.
I got some beautiful stills up right now of that exact punch hitting.
But that wasn't the thing that got me with this. Okay, you knocked your opponent out cold, and everything was great, but the celebration to this knockout. This guy goes and get a pillow.
It's there. It's up on the screen right now.
And gets in the ring with a pillow and says, night, night, he's out. So, I mean.
Did he bring that pillow to the match?
I mean, he had to. I mean, I don't think no one's sitting ringside with a pillow with night, night wrote on it. I mean, that he knew he was going to knock his opponent out, and he celebrated by a knockout by going and get a pillow and bringing a pillow to the ring. That was crazy. I mean, have you ever seen anything like that before?
Never saw anything. And that knockout was a dangerous. I told you, I watched it. I dropped it in the editor. We can't play it here because it's copyrighted, but that was a knockout where he hit him on the chin, and his head snapped it did a 180 back and forth,
right.
Which is the worst thing for your brain when it's because your brain's here and your skull's here, right. And the brain goes bang against the skull, and and thus he was out on the canvas there for a dangerous amount of time. Those are scary, man.
John, don't be so graphic, man. We're trying to promote boxing, not run people away.
Well, this doesn't happen a lot. Guys don't get hit like that. But it was a perfect punch, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, but, oh, man, Joshua Greer Jr., he planned that celebration. That was right on the money. I mean, I've never seen a fighter go, after he knocks his opponent out, go get a pillow and dance around the ring with a pillow. With night wrote on it.
Are you cool with that? Was that cool, or it's pretty outrageous?
Yeah, that was. But I mean, the knockout was pretty vicious. So I mean,
yeah,
you know, sometimes I mean, it was over the top. It was. I mean, you know, I guess you know, a lot of people could see it as totally disrespectful. You know, so I mean, but. I mean, what are you going to do? I mean,
nothing.
I mean, we're talking.
The commission didn't fine him or anything, did they, for doing that?
No.
They didn't.
And we're talking about it.
In Nevada, that might not have gone down so well.
And ESPN showed highlights of this. So, I mean, from a marketing standpoint, it worked.
Yeah, well, you have to show a knockout like that.
Yeah, but everybody's talking about the celebration, the night pillow.
Yeah.
So I mean, I guess he set a standard to where he's got to knock a lot of guys out because he's going to be bringing the night pillow to the ring. So somebody's got to get knocked out if he wants to continue to use the night pillow, right?
Yeah. You want to open up the phone lines?
Yeah, let's take a few calls.
Okay. Well, the phone number's up there, 904-302-7220. It's a Skype line, so you can call in right now if you want, and we'll put you through.
Yeah.
What else is going on, Kev?
Well, did you hear about, Richard Schaefer's back in business?
No, I did not.
Yeah, he started a new promotion company. He got out of that deal with Golden Boy, and he started a new promotion company, and you didn't hear about this new $50 million tournament?
No, didn't read about it.
Richard Schaefer and Callie Sutherland has put together a $50 million tournament. They haven't decided what weight class that they're going to have the tournament in, but it's going to be 16 guys in a tournament, and it's going to be a $50 million pot of prize money.
What weight class can they find 16 guys of equal, or does everybody just kind of make the weight?
I don't know how. They're still putting the particulars together, but they announced that they are having this $50 million tournament. They're still waiting. They haven't decided which weight class. So, I mean, and from what I'm hearing, that they're inviting world champions into the tournament, because I think from what I did read that the finalists will be fighting for a $10 million purse.
Oh, well, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So
it's got to be somewhere between 147 and middleweight, right?
It's got to be, but I mean, they're waiting to announce the weight class. So that's going to be pretty interesting. They're going to do 8 fights in the UK, 8 fights in the States. So that could be interesting.
What's the time length for this? Is it going to be like the Super 6 tournament?
Yeah, it's going to be kind of modeled after the Super 6 tournament.
The problem with those tournaments is shit can go wrong if a guy wins and something happens to him and he takes an extraordinary amount of time to heal. Like, I don't know in that Super 6, I don't think anybody got really badly hurt, but let's say you had an ACL tear or something like that, and you won your fight.
Right.
It doesn't matter if you lost, if you win the fight.
Right.
You got to make provisions for time for that thing, and you got to keep people interested. I think that's, part of the other thing. You got to keep people interested in it. The Super 6 was pretty good. It ended up being pretty good.
It was really interesting.
Yeah, it was, and it worked out though. I think it worked out better than they thought it was, because it can really, that's the problem. Like, it's not like basketball or anything where you got a whole team and one guy gets hurt, the team keeps playing. One guy gets hurt in boxing, they can't keep playing.
Right.
But
this is, $50 million. That's a lot of purse money.
Yeah.
So I mean, whenever they decide on what the weight class will be, I'm more than sure they're going to have a lot of fighters interested in being in this tournament.
Yeah, absolutely. UK's got some pretty good fighters in that middle area there.
Well, we're taking calls. Call in now, 904-302-7220. Talking boxing on Cunningham's Corner. So, so I think, Richard Schaefer's he's a good promoter. I think he did a good job with Golden Boy. So
what's he been doing for the last couple of years?
Well, when he left Golden Boy, I think there was a time frame where he couldn't go and compete and be a promoter for a competing promotion company.
Oh.
So,
I guess he was just sitting around.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's trying to bounce back in a major way with a $50 million tournament. I mean, nobody's putting that kind of purse money up right now. So, That could be really interesting.
I wonder who's bankrolling that.
That's interesting too. So I mean, somebody's interested in boxing. Somebody's
$50 million's a lot of money to put up.
Yeah, it's a lot of money. Yeah.
They better have a plan. Well, maybe they got a TV deal in UK or something. Because B-Sky B and those guys, they pay big money. They pay the next biggest money next to anybody. And for a big fight, they'll pay HBO money. And they've been way ahead of the U.S. in terms of their technology, pay-per-view, streaming, all that stuff. They've been way ahead of us in doing that stuff, and they really know how to maximize their money. So he's probably got UK money to finance that from one of those, B-Sky B type of place. They have that kind of money, and they know what they're doing. I mean, you see those fights over there. The arenas are filled. Technically, they're just superior to anything we do. Like, technically from a broadcasting standpoint.
Even the whole production, it's way over the top. When you watch a fight in the UK, it's the production from a production standpoint, the lighting, the sound, everything is just way over the top.
Way.
I mean, we do fights here in the States, and the fighters just walk out, but in the UK, you think you're watching a fight, and you think you're at a rock concert. So,
yeah.
I mean,
well, in Germany too, they do the same thing. But I know, like those productions, I know what they cost to do those productions, and I look at some of those productions, and you're talking between $500,000 and $1 million in production cost to do those kinds of things, with the various cameras that they use, the wire cameras and the camera jibs and all that stuff. They are expensive productions. But then you look around, you look inside, and the arena's sold out. I mean, you rarely look at those UK fights or those fights in Germany and see any empty seats. You don't see it.
Right.
And then how many fights do you see here where you see it completely full?
Yeah.
I mean, the last time I was when we were in St. Louis.
Right.
The last DKP fight was where there was 20,000 people. And that had a whole big that was a perfect storm that happened with that.
Yeah, we did a nice production on that.
But it's rarely.
But that was because I was pushing so hard to do that whole arch thing with the pyrotechnics.
Yeah.
Yeah, I pushed. I had to pull teeth to get that done.
Yeah, well.
But look how it worked out.
Yeah, so, no. That was that. And there's nothing like a fight atmosphere where it's packed.
Yeah.
And
it was worth it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it was crazy. It was a crazy scene.
Yeah. We'll take this time out to give one of my sponsors a shout out. Sugar D's Gentlemen's Club, 704 South Military Trail, West Palm Beach. Go over there and have a great time. Drinks and drink specials and pretty women and everything that you could look for, I guess, in a gentleman's club.
What's the name of it?
Sugar D's.
Sugar D's.
Sugar D's.
Who's the owner of it? Who's the proprietor? Is it Sugar D?
Sugar Dave.
Sugar Dave.
Sugar Daddy Dave is the owner. So
wow.
Go over and stop by and see those guys over at Sugar D's. John. Oh, we got a caller. Hello.
Hello.
You're
What's up with you?
You're on. Who do we have on the line? Hello.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, who we got on the line?
This Stephon Young.
The showstopper is in the building. What's going on, nephew?
Oh yeah, what's up? I'm chilling, man. Just got done running. What's up with you?
Nothing much. What you got going on? This is Stephon Young, one of the up and coming young contenders in the game, and looking to do big things. Tell our viewers what you got coming up, Steph.
Right now I'm out in Miami at training camp, getting ready for a fight April 1st. I'm finna defend my NABA title against Rauf Agavev from Russia. I got to fight him April 1st in Minnesota.
Okay. So you in camp down the road, down there in Miami?
Yeah, I'm in camp right now.
Okay. How's camp going?
Man, camp is going great, man. Like, I'm focused. I'm ready. I'm feeling sharp. I'm just ready to fight, man. Camp been great.
You having good sparring and everything is
Uh,
on point?
oh yeah, most definitely. Like I'm sparring with all of some of the world class fighters right now. You know, I spar with former world champion Carlos Payano.
Oh
I'm
yeah,
sparring with
that's good work.
yeah. Oh yeah, most def. I'm sparring with Yennefer Vicente. He actually got knockout of the year like 3 times.
Oh wow.
You know, I'm sparring with a lot of top guys right now. I'm getting some of the best sparring around.
Okay. So you fighting in Minnesota?
Yeah, I fight April 1st in Minnesota.
Okay. All right. All right. So what's your record, Stefan?
16-0,
16-0. How many KOs?
6 KOs.
6 KOs. Okay.
I mean, I'm feeling so good and sharp right now, and I'm feeling like April 1st I'll be able to get this guy out of there. Like, I honestly doubt that he's gonna last with me April 1st.
Well, hey, you know what they say. Ain't nothing like a made-up mind, and it sounds like your mind made up, and you ready to go. I see you on social media. You on the grind, and putting in the work. I mean, the hard work is in camp and in training. Fight night, if you put the work in camp, fight night is easy. That's that's where you have your fun at if you put the work in camp.
Yeah,
You know.
I'm a strong believer. I believe like the hard work is done in camp. You know, I feel like the training is harder than the fighting.
Okay.
You know, like the workouts that I do in camp, man, it's just like that's harder than fighting to me. So I feel like come April 1st, it's going to be nothing.
Right, right. So tell me this: what your handlers do they have what's the plan for getting you in the mix for how long do you think you're away from getting a shot at one of those titles, at one of those world titles in your division?
To be honest with you, my manager, he just told me today that they have been speaking with the guy. The guy who actually got the world title in my weight, he just beat Rashid One.
Oh yeah,
My promoter,
I saw that fight.
Yeah, my manager has been, and my promoter, they've been reaching out to his team, and they spoke with the WBA. Like, I'm in position for that right now. If I don't have to go through this title elimination bout, I go straight to it. So I'm just waiting on them to get back at us.
Yeah, well, I like that fight for you, man, because he definitely can be outboxed, and you got the skill set to do it. So I kind of like that fight, especially with a world title on the line. So if they can make that happen for you, that would be great.
Yeah, they in the mix is trying to put that together right now as we speak. So it's just like I'm just staying ready, man. Like I said, I'm finna go April 1st to fight in Minnesota. Then I'm coming right back. I'm coming right back to camp, man. Like my mind is focused. Like when I'm focused, it's nothing you can tell me. So I just want to come back out here and stay focused and stay sharp. So when that call come and they be like, well, look, the title is on the line. Like I'm gonna be ready for it.
That's right. That's right. You got to be ready, man. You don't want to be trying to get ready when that call comes. You want to be ready, and you're doing a great job. You staying focused. I see you staying in camp. You don't stay in St. Louis too long, and you get right back in camp. And I think that's a great thing for a fighter that wants to compete on the world class level. And I just want to wish you luck on April 1st. And I'm rooting for you. And keep up the great work you're doing. You're doing a great job. And we from the Lou. So I'm proud of you, and keep doing what you're doing, man.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. I still got to come out and check out the gym, man. I'm in Miami, so I feel like it shouldn't be too long before I can come through your gym and check it out, man.
Yeah, come on up, man. You just a 45-minute drive from Miami to West Palm, so come on up anytime. You welcome. You family, so you welcome to come up anytime. So just jump in the car and shoot up the highway, and you be here in 45 minutes. So come on up anytime. You're welcome.
Most definitely, man. I appreciate it. And I'm going to give you a call and let you know when I'm going to make it out there.
Okay. All right. Stay up, Steph.
All right. Thanks, man.
All right. Stephon Young. one of the up and coming the future champions.
How old a kid is he?
I think he's 28.
28.
Somewhere around that 28, 27, 28. I've been knowing that kid since he was a baby. His dad was one of the best amateur fighters in St. Louis. He's around my age, and he was one of the best amateur fighters in the country at one time. He was one of the top amateur.
His father.
His father, yeah. Steve Young is his father. So, I mean, he's got the boxing blood flowing through his veins, that's for sure. And he's a positive young man, and he's focused. He's training hard, and it's always good to see a young guy that you're seeing coming up do well, and you know, he's doing pretty good, and I think he's going to be a world champion one day for sure. I tell you, but John, tell me this. When you did a lot with a lot of the tapes and footage in one of the biggest boxing libraries in boxing. Tell me what fight that you saw in that library that just stuck with you.
Well, there's a couple of different categories. So there was the most brutal knockout, biggest upset. Just a couple of different fights. Well, let me tell you first of all, the fight that is clearly the most amazing fight of all of just what happened to make it happen was the Rumble in the Jungle. And so I know the people that were a part of it. I know people that were involved. Carl King, and shout out to him tonight because he wasn't feeling well. He was supposed to be on air.
Yeah.
And we hope he's okay.
Yeah.
Carl was there, and he's got his whole side of the story, which is insanely interesting. If he's better in another week or so, we got to have him on. But you got to ask him about that because he can tell you for days. But just to make that fight happen, and then to watch Foreman beat Norton and Foreman destroy Frazier after Frazier beat Ali. So the man who beat the man who killed the man was going to fight Ali
and kill Ali.
Ali
supposedly.
And man, I've watched that fight now. I guarantee you I've watched it more than anybody because I watched it on a loop one time when we went on we went to Sportel and I sat and watched it loop for 5-7 days straight. Mm-hmm. But now I've watched it over and over. I took the original reel and redigitized it and watched just how amazing it was to watch Ali just climb inside George Foreman's head and take him apart mentally, talking in his ear, doing that rope-a-dope thing. Man, that fight is awesome. I'm friends with Colonel Bob, who called the fight.
Right.
And Colonel Bob tells you a whole side of the story from what happened, Kinshasa, and I talk with other people that were there, Bobby Goodman. I know guys that were there, and they all have a different story. So all those stories together make that whole thing just a crazy, there have been movies made about it. I actually like the Will Smith movie because they were authentic to exactly what happened in it. The boxing scenes they did, they made it look right. That fight, probably the coolest. The last fight that I digitized, the last fight out of the 3,000, it's 4,700 bouts, 3,500 tapes of fights, and then another 2,000, 3,000 fights of ancillary footage. The last fight that I digitized was the HBO version of Tyson Douglas, and it happens to be in really good shape, except it's on a 3/4-inch tape, which nobody cares about or knows, but that was the professional VCR back in the day, and I had to keep cleaning the heads on every 10 minutes because the tape is so worn out, but the tape was in good shape, and to watch the HBO guys who were almost Larry Merchant, Sugar Ray Leonard, and what's his name? Jim Lampley, call the fight and almost in the beginning start making excuses for how short of a fight it was going to be and how bad of a fight it was going to be. And the crowd in Japan that was not – they came to see Tyson destroy this guy.
Right, Buster
and after
Douglas.
the first round, Douglas won the first round. The HBO guys started turning around. It was a whole tale of watching these guys go – And you watched
how they jumped ship.
They jumped ship, but you watched the beginning and the end of Tyson right there.
Right,
That was the beginning. Godzilla was getting taken down, man, and Buster Douglas was the consummate Cinderella guy. He was always overweight.
That whole deal was a disaster. I mean, Mike Tyson's corner didn't even bring an inswell.
Right.
These guys took some ice water and put it in a rubber glove.
Put it in a condom.
That was a condom? I thought that was a rubber glove.
No, it's a condom.
Oh, my God. Wow.
And it was just cold water.
Are you kidding me?
It was cold water, like room temperature water. And they brought –
so they put a condom on this man's eye.
Watch it.
I guess he had plenty of condoms because I heard he was over there in Japan.
I asked the guy
with the women.
That's another fight that I knew parties to it. I heard Aaron Snow told me long stories. Carl was there in the ring, told me stories. I talked to guys that were there to watch the whole thing, and clearly Buster Douglas they had no casinos except for one casino, which was some crazy casino. I don't even know which one it was. Put up odds on it at 42-1, and apparently they didn't even really get any action on it. Nobody bet on it because it was that much of an. And Buster Douglas showed up, and after the first round, he said, "There's no way this is a 42-1 underdog." Tyson changed everything he did.
Yeah.
A year before, he was ducking and moving and feisty.
It was just,
And Buster Douglas put together the greatest night of his entire life because he never performed like that. He never had done it before. He lost to Tony Tucker. He got beat up in a couple of fights, and he never did it afterwards.
Yeah, but he said his mom's passing motivated him to get ready for that
I
fight.
believe that 100%.
Yeah.
I've watched that fight in the last week. I watched it probably 30 times. Yeah. And I watched a motivated guy.
So after looking at 3,000 tapes, Muhammad Ali, the Rumble in the Jungle, is the one that really
absolutely,
stuck with you
unquestionably, the coolest thing just to hold that original tape in my hands on a 1-inch reel was the Holy Grail, man. No question.
The original tape of that fight.
No, it's actually it's not. I can't find the original. Was on a 2-inch reel that 2-inch machine, and we have a 2-inch machine in there. I can't find the original of it, but this was a copy of the original on a 1-inch tape that was actually labeled a master tape. So either they had a 1-inch machine there, which I'm not sure if they did in '74, but I don't know. I held it in my hands, and it was pretty cool.
I want to take this time out to give my man Nate Campbell a shout-out. Check Nate out on Experience the Galaxy every Saturday, 7 p.m. Saturday, Nate Campbell, Experience the Galaxy. Check his show out, man. My man Nate. I tell you, Nate Campbell is something else, boy. I met Nate, my first time meeting Nate, and he talked about it a little bit on his show, was in Colorado Springs. I had my guys up there. All my guys, most of them were national champions. And I had a kid by the name of Edward McCrae, and he was the under-19 national champion, the junior Olympic national champion, so he was highly celebrated. So we go to the weigh-ins, and they do the drawings, and we get this kid by the name of Nate Campbell out of Jacksonville, Florida. So I see Nate. We happen to run into Nate at the gym, and Nate's talking, and Nate was with a couple of the guys from Florida, and I'm just figuring this is just another guy we're gonna take care of in the first round until we get, we're going straight to the finals and win another national championship. Man, my guy Edward McCrae got in there with Nate Campbell, and Nate Campbell was like a hot knife going through butter, man. I mean, he jumped on my guy, and he never let up. And I knew then, I said, man, this kid, he doesn't have a huge amateur background, but he got what it takes to be a really good fighter, and he ended up winning world titles and doing great things. So shout out to Nate Campbell, and check his show out, Experience the Galaxy, Saturday night, 7 p.m.
He's a funny dude, man.
Yeah,
he's got a real sense of humor.
He's got a sense of humor, but he's talking about some serious subjects. And I mean some serious subjects.
And he's got serious opinions, but he's well versed. He reads up on his subjects, and he makes it a funny thing.
Yeah. So he's doing a good thing with the show, and the show is a very interesting show. And like I said, it's some serious subjects and some serious topics, and he handles it, and he takes it and runs with it, and he's doing a great job. And keep doing your thing, Nate. Now, you know, we're going to take some more callers, right, John?
Yeah, sure, if you want to.
We're going to take some more callers. Call us at 904-302-7220. Call in and we talking boxing here on Cunningham's Corner. And I was thinking about how, and the reason why I want to talk to you about this because you've been in the mix with the man and that's Don King. How Don pulled that whole Rumble in the Jungle thing off. I mean, did it really happen like it happened in the movie?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they were true. I think for the most part. I don't think I've heard bits and pieces from Don publicly. You know, the stuff that he said. But it was paying two fighters $5 million each first, $10 million purse. That was incredible.
Yeah, especially when he didn't even know how he was going to get the money.
Yeah, but
he had him sign a contract and he didn't have a clue.
I'm going to give you a crazy financial fact, which is crazy. Okay, so he got Zaire, the Mobutu, Sese Mobutu, the then dictator of, and he was a 30-something-year-old guy, and he wanted to put Zaire on the map. And Don said, "Hey, man, we can make you the star of the world. We can make everybody understand who you are and where you're at." $10 million. $10 million was equal to 3% of the GNP of that country. Now, when you hear Donald Trump here talking about our gross national product,
right,
it's like trillions, right?
Right.
And if you took 3% of that trillions, you'd be talking about billions of dollars. Billions of dollars. Now, think about in this country if you said, we want to appropriate 3% of the GNP of the United States for a prize fight that we're going to broadcast around the world to make the United States put them on the map. It's that significant that the ruler of a country took 3% of the gross national product. That's everything that was sold in the country.
Right.
He took 3% of that and handed it to Don King to put this fight on in Zaire and make it a success, which it ended up being. That's just unprecedented. You know, just you're talking about Richard Schaefer getting $50 million. You say, wow, $50 million. How about getting $10 million from an African country, which is part of the country's tax-based revenue to get them to put it up? That's the most incredible part, is what King pulled off to get the money together for that fight. Most incredible part. Forget everything else. George Foreman getting cut, getting him over there, overcoming all
but what blew me away was when I found out that he had two guys sign blank contracts just saying that he would pay them $5 million apiece. And he didn't have a clue at that point where he was getting the money.
Right.
That took balls.
Give the man credit, man.
That took balls.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Look, I want to. You can reach me. Go to my website, CunninghamsCorner.com. You can get me on Facebook, Cunningham's Corner, Twitter @KC Box Trainer, or hit me up on the Instagram, Cunningham_Kevin01. We're going to be taking a commercial break, and we'll be back after this commercial break.
You're watching Experience the Galaxy with Nate Campbell, the only show streaming live on Ustream, YouTube, Periscope, and Facebook Live.
Tell me, Kenny, how is it you rub my belly so fine with that secret rub of yours? And don't even tell me what you're gonna do next. I love you, Kenny Bear. Tell me, Kenny baby, what you gonna do next?
Kenny Bear's Old Florida Barbecue Rub and Seasoning. Grab a bottle today.
Hi, Billy C. here. I want to talk to you about Sal's Neighborhood Pizzeria and Ristorante Italiano. Sal's Neighborhood Pizzeria and Ristorante Italiano serves the freshest and finest homemade Italian cuisine with Sal's family recipes from the old country. Sal's incredibly delicious brick oven pizza is the best pizza I've ever had. And I'm from New York. Come join us today on St. Simon's Island in the beautiful Golden Isles of Georgia. We're located at exit 29 off of I-95. Sal's is open for lunch and dinner Monday through Saturday, with private parties available on Sundays. For more information, call 912-268-2328 or go to salsneighborhoodpizzeria.com. Sal's Neighborhood Pizzeria and Ristorante Italiano, where new faces become old friends, and our family tradition is to serve you the very best.
Want to bring the big show to your event? The Talkin' Boxing with Billy C show will bring the biggest daily boxing show on the planet to your event and take your show from just an event to a big event.
Coming at you from Fort Lauderdale, we're at the inaugural Women's International Boxing Hall of Fame. And joining me right now, I don't want her to beat me up, but one of the most well-known fighters, retired undefeated, Lucia Riker.
With worldwide television distribution, a first-class professional TV set, and a totally HD state-of-the-art production, Billy C gives huge promotion to your weigh-ins, press conferences, and even promotional events. The big man from the Big Apple knows the fight game, and his professional interviews are the best in the business.
It's now time for Talkin' Boxing with Billy C.
And we're coming to you live from the Billy C studio in Lake George, New York. I'm Bill Calagione, and it's time for Talking Boxing with Billy C. Good morning, good day, good evening. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Linda from Southampton.
Hey, Linda from Southampton. What's on your mind?
LDL TV and Billy C Boxing give your event the big spotlight with thousands of viewers worldwide.
The best boxing commentators out there, Al Bernstein. Al, glad you could join us, my man.
Nice. Thank you very much.
What's happening?
Well, we're having a great weekend. Just had a beautiful lunch here at Graziano's. My second straight beautiful lunch here at Graziano's.
Email us today and ask us how, or go to BillyCBoxing.com and click on the Billy C Now banner. Billy C Boxing, the right choice to make your event into the big event. You're watching Experience the Galaxy with Nate Campbell, the only show streaming live on Ustream, YouTube, Periscope, and Facebook Live.
We're back, Cunningham's Corner, and we have a caller on the line. Caller, who do we have the pleasure of having on the line?
This is your boy G. Leo, the publisher of BoxingTalk.com. What's going on? I'm happy to be on Cunningham's Corner.
Oh, BoxingTalk.com is in the building. What's up, G?
You know the drill, Kev. Working hard, never hardly working. Every day the same.
So we got you back in the mix. We got you back in the industry, coming with the hottest and the latest and the greatest stories in boxing.
Oh, yes, sir. They got to check out BoxingTalk.com if they want to hear it first.
So what's been going on with you, G? Tell me what you got going on. What you got? What's going on with you? And how can the fans check you out and tell us what all you doing and what you got going on?
Well, right now we got a nice interview up there with the Bob Father that everybody should check out. We also got a solid interview with Danny Jacobs, who's looking to pull the upset against Golovkin this weekend. And Alex Saucedo is up there. He's fighting on the undercard of Mike Conlin's pro debut tomorrow night. So it's just a good time for boxing. 2017 has been fantastic. I think the industry overall has been building a lot of momentum, and I hope it keeps going. It's fantastic.
So, G, speaking of that Triple G and Danny Jacobs fight, how do you like Danny's chances?
Well, Danny, I think, presents a different challenge to Triple G because I think he's the most athletic puncher that Golovkin has faced. At this point in time, based on how he's looking, I probably favor Golovkin over a Velociraptor. But Danny's a young kid, he's athletic, and he seems confident going into this fight. Golovkin's the favorite for a reason, but it's going to be an interesting fight. Danny's coming to win. He ain't coming to lay down. So everybody needs to tune into that fight. If you can't make it to the Garden, y'all should definitely buy the pay-per-view. When the best fight the best, the fans should support the event.
Yeah. me personally, I don't think this fight is a pay-per-view fight. I think this fight should have been on regular HBO, but neither. I mean, I bought it. I've already ordered the fight, so because it's a fight that it's a fight that everybody wants to see. But me personally, that's my opinion. I thought the fight should have been on regular HBO as opposed to being on pay-per-view.
I think this fight is a victim of HBO's budget this year. I think that with AT&T acquiring Time Warner, it minimized HBO's budget this year, and as a result, you have fights like Golovkin and Jacobs going to pay-per-view, and earlier this year before it got canceled, Miguel Cotto versus James Kirkland going on pay-per-view. Neither of these fights belong on pay-per-view, but they're there due to HBO's minuscule budget this year.
Yeah, see, and that hurts because that minimizes the amount of people that'll get a chance to see the fight being putting fights like these on pay-per-view, as opposed to if it was on regular HBO per se, you probably would get 1 million viewers watching the fight. They'll probably be lucky.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they'll probably be lucky to get 200,000 to buy this fight. So, I mean, it kind of hurts. It's kind of like a double-edged sword, Oh,
yeah, especially after we just had a fight like Thurman and Garcia, similar situation with two of the elite level welterweights fighting each other on CBS and drawing over 5 million viewers. And then the week before that, the undefeated heavyweight champion on Fox peaking at 2.8, 2.6 million viewers, something like that. So this fight certainly isn't going to have the eyeballs that those fights did, and it's a shame. But this is the only way that they can do the fight and make sure the boxers are compensated accordingly. So it is what it is.
Right. Speaking of the Danny Jacobs and Keith Thurman fight, what did you think about that fight?
I thought Thurman won, but I thought in the last couple of rounds he harnessed his inner Oscar De La Hoya a little bit. It kind of reminded me of when De La Hoya fought Trinidad and just took them last few rounds off, and that really didn't sit well with me, and I would have liked to see more from Keith. I think they both started out banging in the first round, and I kind of think it was all downhill from there.
So if Danny Jacobs would have had Don King as his promoter, I mean not Danny Jacobs, Danny Garcia would have had Don King as his promoter, he probably would have got the decision after Thurman ran for the last 3 rounds the way Tito got the decision over Oscar.
I ain't gonna speculate on that, but if it would have been the same judging panel, it probably would have been a Danny Garcia victory.
Yeah.
The fight I'm really looking forward to, though, is the fight on May 20th between Brook and Spence. I think that's an even better fight than Thurman and Garcia.
Oh yeah. I think that's. You know what? With that being, back to the the Garcia and Thurman fight. I think Thurman won the fight clearly. Keith Thurman won that fight clearly. He took his foot off the gas, which, in my opinion, he shouldn't have for those last 3 or 4 rounds. But I think he still won the fight going away. I don't even think it's a dispute in that fight. Back to what you're talking about, Kell Brook and Earl Spence. That fight could be a real barn burner, but I'm concerned with how much damage that Kell Brook took from Triple G. I'm wondering if that'll have any effects on Kell Brook. Tell me what you think about that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, anytime you're getting hit by Golovkin and you're getting damaged by a puncher in a division that you don't belong in, it could certainly leave a little piece of that boxer in the ring. So it remains to be seen how much, if anything, Golovkin took out of Brook, and if Brook could even make the weight. There's a lot of speculation that it's going to be hard for him to make this weight, having not fought at welter in such a long time. So it's going to be interesting to see, but you can never know with these things. I remember when Barrera and Morales fought, it looked like they left their souls in the ring in 2001, and they both went on to have Hall of Fame careers after that. So I guess it depends on the athlete and what they have inside.
Right. But then again, if you think about it, Brook's corner did stop that fight and didn't let him get punished as bad as he could have. So they might have, saved some of the fighter, and he may not be as damaged as he could have been. That's for sure. But it's going to be interesting to see if you can see some effects.
I thought Brook actually won a couple of them early rounds.
For sure. He did win a few of the early rounds, but he started to get punished in the later rounds and punished bad.
Mm-hmm. Yep, he was out of his class.
Yeah, out of his class. Definitely out of his weight class, but fighting
Golovkin in your first middleweight fight is like a middleweight going up to light heavyweight to fight Kovalev. It's not the recipe for success.
Right. And speaking of that,
it's the reason Andre Ward took like a year to get acclimated to that division, and that's a fighter who was coming up from 168 his whole life. He turned pro at 160 and then moved right up to 168, was fighting there forever, and still took a year to become a light heavyweight, and that's just 7 pounds. Kell Brook went up 13 pounds to face the gun in the division, so he didn't do himself any favors. I'm sure it was rewarding economically, but certainly not physically.
Yeah, and you could see it. And even in the Ward fight with Kovalev, it looked like Kovalev's punches was just so much. Were so effective when he did land on Ward. I mean, it's just like you could see the expressions on Dre's face a little bit that those punches were either this guy is heavy-handed or it's the fact that he moved up into the light heavyweight division and he could feel the difference in those punches. I don't know which were the
I agree with you. He had a look on his face like, whoa, what the heck was that? You could tell that he was surprised and taken back by Kovalev's power early, especially. But Dre is a fantastic fighter, and I think he kind of figured him out in the middle rounds and adjusted to his power by that time. So if they do end up having their rematch, I kind of favor Dre to win the fight much cleaner this time, because kind of like that Mayweather and Castillo fight where Mayweather probably lost the first fight, and in the second fight it was still good, but Mayweather cleanly won. I thought Ward probably lost that fight, and in the second fight I think he would handle Kovalev better because now he knows what to expect.
Yeah, well, I thought in that fight Dre showed the heart of a true champion because he was clearly hurt and hurt bad, but to get up and turn from the middle rounds to the later rounds, turn that fight around. Now, it's debatable whether he turned it around enough to get the decision, but he did get up off the floor and turn that fight around and win several of those later rounds. That was a clear indicator of a true champion as any. And I mean, you got to send kudos to Andre Ward just for that effort alone.
Oh, he's a special fighter. I think he's a lock for the Hall of Fame if he retired tomorrow. So Andre Ward is certainly a special fighter.
Yeah.
I think he had 2 looks of surprise on his face in that fight, though. One, when he got touched by Kovalev's power early, I think he was surprised, and then I think he was even more surprised when they read the decision.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people said. So, I mean, hey, but what are you gonna do? I mean, all he can do is fight the fight. He can't judge the fight. So I mean, that's the decision that the judges came with. So let's run.
How's that weather in West Palm, Kev?
Look, let's just run it back again. I'd love to see a rematch, but the weather is great, man. It's paradise down here.
It ain't snowing.
That's for sure. It's averaging 80 to 85 every day. So the beaches are great.
You live in heaven. Yeah. In New York, we got hit with a blizzard, and then the plows come and they got you shoveling snow 3 days later because they keep pushing it back onto your driveway.
Wow. Well,
so any New York fighters need to get out to Camp Cunningham and go to Paradise to work with a world-class guy like my boy Kev.
Yeah, so I mean, it's paradise, but it ain't paradise in Camp Cunningham, because if you come to Camp Cunningham, be prepared to train and get yourself prepared to go to war and win. So if you want to go to war and win, come to Camp Cunningham and train, because it's a first-class training camp. We got a hell of a conditioning trainer. We got a hell of a strength program, and you're going all the skill and techniques of boxing. I got you covered on that end. So That's what we wanted to have put together, where guys could come here to Florida, where the weather is great and the scenery is beautiful, and you could have a private. We got a private compound where the gates are locked. No one can get in and disturb you, and you can come in here and go to work and get ready to, go to war when it's fight time, and go to war and win. So, but G, I wanted to touch on one more subject with you before we let you go, and that's
Absolutely.
That's the Dana White said today on SportsCenter that the Mayweather McGregor fight will happen. What do you think about that whole situation?
I think it's bad for boxing.
Oh.
I think Mayweather McGregor is bad for boxing because it's going to be so over promoted because it's Mayweather and McGregor, but people in the know it's a circus act. There's no way in the world Conor McGregor could beat Floyd Mayweather in a boxing ring.
Right.
So people are going to be buying the fight knowing that the outcome is already predetermined. So it's good for Mayweather if it happens. You can't hate on that man if he's going to make another $250 million and the people are going to pay. So be it. But in my opinion, based on all the momentum we've been getting with these fantastic fights like we've been discussing, Ward, Kovalev, Brooks, Spence, Thurman, Garcia, I mean, Mayweather and McGregor is not on that level. It's not a competitive fight.
Well, I pretty much agree with you because, just like you said, Kell Brook fought Triple G in his first middleweight fight. You're talking about Conor McGregor fighting TBE in his first professional boxing match.
Yeah.
So.
When we say TBE, are we talking about boxer or matchmaker?
No, I'm talking about what he calls himself.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's awesome.
So, he's one of the best that ever did it. So, I agree with that,
but seriously though, Floyd's an all-time great.
Yeah.
And his resume speaks for itself, but he certainly is equally efficient at making the right matches at the right times, as evidenced by Pacquiao. That fight was 5 years past its expiration date, and it did bigger business than it probably would have done at its peak. So power to him.
Yeah, you can't dispute the moves that he's made from a business standpoint. Even this one, yeah, it is what it is, but the way I look at this whole thing, for us to have Floyd Mayweather go get a guy like this to fight to do significant numbers tells me that we need to do a better job at marketing and promoting boxing. That's what this tells me. Because
is that the Mayweather money train coming into Camp Cunningham?
Yep, that's the money train. That's the money train right on cue.
He's stopping to drop off some money.
Yeah. So that's what I see when I see something like this, because he's basically saying, show me a boxer, show me one of the top guys in boxing that I can make this kind of money with, and I'll fight him.
Well, I think right now, Mayweather and Thurman is a fight that people would want to see. Thurman just got 5 million eyeballs on him against Danny Garcia. Thurman, in back-to-back fights, has had more eyeballs on him in those two fights than Floyd ever has. Granted, they weren't pay-per-view fights, but in terms of familiarity with the public, Thurman has to be right there.
Yeah, but he's nowhere.
Errol Spence, if he gets this world championship, Errol Spence already fought in front of 6 million people when he fought after the USA basketball team won their gold medal. So I think there's fantastic fights out there for Floyd if he wants to continue boxing, but Floyd's not getting into the ring unless he's making a certain number, and that number doesn't exist with any other boxer right now except for Conor McGregor.
And you basically...
If Mayweather wanted to fight these guys for a number Not anywhere near what he made for Pacquiao, but much more than he made for Berto. He can do that.
Yeah,
but he doesn't want to.
Yeah.
And
so
he shouldn't have to if he doesn't want to. The man retired.
Yeah, but what I'm
again.
But my point is the fact that he can make that kind of money fighting Conor McGregor is because Conor McGregor is that much more popular than any one of those fighters you just named. Says we should do a better job of marketing boxing.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. We don't have any boxers though, quite like Conor McGregor, who are getting at the press conference. Like if Danny Garcia talked like his father,
right,
maybe we would have a Conor McGregor in boxing. But Conor McGregor is just a wild boy, and he says what's ever on his mind. He has absolutely no filter. And as Don King would say, he got the complexion for the connection. Oh man.
Yeah. Well, we got a guy that's close to that in terms of knowing how to market himself, and his name is Adrian the Problem Broner. So I mean, he's the next in terms of marketing because he's doing better ratings than any of the other fighters outside of Floyd Mayweather.
Yeah, 100%.
I mean,
the UFC does a fantastic job of marketing its guys and making them stars. Unfortunately, they don't get paid what they're worth, and this is why I think Conor McGregor wants to delve into boxing because he knows there's more money in boxing than he's making in UFC.
Yeah, way more.
Yeah, I mean, and speaking back on this AB thing, and I think that's why your man, the Bob father, keeps bringing his name up for an opponent for Pacquiao because he knows there's no other boxer. His fighter, Crawford, nobody knows him, and he doesn't have the personality that's going to help those pay-per-view numbers. And if he could make a fight with Manny Pacquiao and Adrian Broner, that's the next best thing he can get in terms of a promoter. I mean, in terms of an opponent that can help those pay-per-view numbers for a Pacquiao opponent. Do you agree?
100%.
And I know where he's angling that whole thing too, because who else has that Mayweather shoulder roll style down pat like that? You know, so he would be fighting Mayweather. What they want to call a Mayweather lookalike or Mayweather style opponent to position themselves for the Pacquiao Mayweather rematch also. So, you know, I mean, you could get boxers' popularity up in terms if they were marketed properly, but a lot of the guys are going to have to step up also and market themselves, you know. Because the UFC did not make Conor McGregor as popular as he is. Conor McGregor's personality and the antics that he does made him the popular guy that he is today. Do you agree?
That's part of it, but Conor McGregor's also showed a lot of belief in himself, and he steps up to the plate for challenges. When one of his opponents pulled out, he decided to fight Nate Diaz on short notice, tapped out, fought him right back, beat him in the rematch. And I think that's what's going to be happening with boxing. I think we're going to see the best fighting the best, and having that undefeated record ain't going to mean as much as it used to, because if the best are going to always be fighting the best, people are going to lose. There's not going to be undefeated fighters. Danny Garcia just got his first loss. With Brooke and Spence, somebody can get their first loss in that fight. Undefeated guys are going to be fighting undefeated guys a lot more often.
They got to. You have to. You know, you can't let these guys run around and try to protect their oath because you can't sell that.
That's right. That's right. There's not, like we've been articulating, there's not a lot of guys in boxing who are really the most marketable guys, whether or not they're the best interviews or whatever the case may be. But for these guys to become stars, they need to start fighting the best and beating the best. That's all it is. Danny Garcia has never really been a big talker. His father does most of the talking that he doesn't. And Danny Garcia's gotten to the highest level, and I think he would have been even bigger if he was promoted more in Philadelphia. I think Danny Garcia right now could be filling up the Wells Fargo Arena where the 76ers play, but he's fighting in Brooklyn all the time. I think that has a lot to do with you. You see guys like Crawford fighting in Nebraska, they fill up the building. Deontay Wilder, he fights in Alabama, he fills up the building. I think it's very important to start building these guys locally within their community and get that fan base up starting from there.
Yeah, well, I know all about that. I know all about building fighters in their community and building up the fan base because, you know, yeah.
I know how many people was at the Chavez Center that day.
Yep. So, I mean, I haven't seen too many 23,500 standing room only arena fights being done.
Oh, man, that's because you had Don, King of the World, promoting it only in America, baby.
Yeah, well, he took all the credit for it, but that was a lot of grassroots work leading up to that. But Don took it over the top, you know. So. All right, G, it was good talking to you, my man. It's always good to have you. Come on anytime. I wish we could have Skyped you in. Maybe next time we can Skype you in so the people can put a name with a face. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. I look forward to coming back on as soon as possible, Kev. Let's get me back on the Cunningham corner. Let me know if there's anything I can do for y'all. I'm here to help. I'm happy to help. Thank you so much for having me on.
All right, appreciate you, my brother.
All
right. Well, that was interesting. That was really interesting. And John, we were just talking about these guys trying to protect their O's. That's got to go. Protecting the O has got to go in boxing. The best have to fight the best. If you want to save this sport, the best have to fight the best. I mean, like I said, in the UFC, they don't even look at the records. They just make great fights.
Well, first of all, they have the promoter owns them, so he puts the best guys with the best guys. But the thing is that those guys even listen. The only person in the UFC that just melted down after her O went away was Ronda Rousey. Because to me, you saw what a fraudulent job that was. That was a one-dimensional person, a one-trick pony.
Yeah.
And her O went, and she's never going to fight again.
She's never going to be the same again.
She's never going to fight again, probably. But the rest of these guys, like he was just describing, Conor McGregor, he doesn't care if they go in, they go all out in these fights. They don't care if they lose because they know they're going to be right back in there in a pay-per-view in one or two fights. That's it. So if you create that environment from which guys are not afraid, it's the end of their career doesn't come when they lose. Because I think that's what some of these boxers, I know, like Floyd has been obsessed with the O. He's been clearly obsessed with it. He does not want to have a loss for any amount of money on his career.
At this point in his career, he should be obsessed with the O. Because now you're talking about legacy. I mean, at this point, why would he do anything to try to get a loss on his?
No, he's not. That's why that McGregor fight is the only fight that you're going to see him in. That's it. He's out. Why should he, though? I mean, why?
He's in the history book.
Yeah, man. How old is he? 40? Is he 40?
40, and he'll go down.
I mean, I don't blame the guy.
Rocky Marciano retired 49-0.
Yeah.
I mean, Floyd's at 49-0.
Yeah.
It would have been nice to see him try to go for 50 because I can't see this. If he fights Conor McGregor, will this go down as one of his wins as a boxing match?
Well, I asked that question. I actually was talking about Nate with that question, whether they will actually sanction the thing because this guy hasn't fought a professional fight yet. And I don't know if it's going to be in Nevada. He's licensed in California. I know that. And if they have to sign off on it, there's safety. They worry about that. Clearly, the guy can professionally box, but can he compete? I doubt it. I saw the sparring. I mean, did you see the sparring match?
No, you would tell
me.
Dude,
I couldn't tell who was the sparring partner and who was the real guy. I'm not kidding you. When I saw it, I go, wow, he's just – I've seen him fight. And have you watched any of his UFC fights?
Yeah.
I mean, they're terrific, but fighting bare-knuckle another guy who can kick you is a whole shitload different than putting gloves on, keeping your feet planted, and actually having to provide some defense.
Think about this now. I've been thinking about this, and I've had a couple of conversations with a few people. Floyd, if this fight happens, Floyd got to be careful because, what if Conor McGregor goes in there and grabs him and slams him and knees him in the balls and, try to and doesn't care if he gets disqualified?
Yeah, but if they do it somewhere where they can take his purse, and this is going to be the biggest purse. He's been making pretty big purses in the UFC, $1 and $2 million, and he's probably going to get $5 or something like that, or maybe I don't know what Floyd's going to pay him.
They're talking about at least 15 to 20 million
for McGregor. Okay, yeah. Even more so, if the commission, the California Commission goes in there and talks with them and says, "Hey, dude, any shenanigans, man, we are going to stick it to you. No UFC moves, you even
they better have that.
You even do that, and we're gonna take your purse." He won't do it. He's not going to do it. Yeah. He's not. He's going to go out and fight. He's going to throw punches. He's going to find out very quickly the difference between probably the best boxer in the last 30 years and a rank and file amateur is. That's how bad this fight. It's not going to look good, is what I'm afraid. Yeah. I don't care how hard he fights. It's not going to look good.
No,
it's just not.
There's no way. And
people are going to be pissed.
I didn't see the sparring session, but you said this guy looks.
Go out there and look at it, man. They posted it right after.
Amateur.
Yeah. When I saw it, I just said, "Oh man, maybe it's fake news."
Wow.
And it came from some real site. They showed it, and I said, "Holy crap!" Oh. We're going to end up paying him, man. $99.95.
It's going to be a huge promotion. I can see this thing being a huge promotion because one thing about Conor McGregor, he knows how to promote a fight. And Floyd has kind of dialed it down a little bit, but if Floyd turns it up back like in his heyday and gets it going, this could be a huge promotion.
Oh, it would be cool to see if Mayweather really wanted to put his foot on the gas and knock this guy out. Really knock him out, like just crush him.
Yeah, I think Floyd's going to get him out of there. I don't see Floyd wanting to go the distance with a guy that's not really a boxer anyway. It's kind of like he's got to get rid of this guy.
Yeah, well, he hasn't gotten rid of a guy in a long time, though. A lot of years.
Look me up on CunninghamsCorner.com website. You can hit me up on Facebook, Cunningham's Corner. Hit me up on Twitter, @KCBoxTrainer. Or hit me up on the gram, Cunningham_Kevin01. John, it's been fun, but this is the second episode of Cunningham's Corner, and we're starting to work out the kinks, and next week's show is going to be even bigger and better. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you next week on Cunningham's Corner.